Hi guys, so we are going to be doing some lessons here, just kind of make up for some of the things that you're going to be missing while I'm traveling across the country. So we're going to look at lesson 2.07 and 2.09, which is being covered on one of these days, the Thursday. Anyway, it's 2.07 and 2.08, my bad, 2.07 and 2.08. Which is the Thursday, the 10th. So this is a lesson for that day. And it's all about proportions and it's all about cross multiplication. So if we ever have a situation like if you have 10 out of 60, so it takes 10 something to get to 60, and then we want to know, well, we have 100, how many is that going to take? Well, we have this thing called cross multiplication where we can multiply. It's called an extreme means concept is what it's called. So what we're going to do is we're going to cross multiply. We're going to do 60 times x, which is 60x, and 10 times 100, which is 1,000. And then all we have after we do our extreme means, sorry, forgot to do that other piece, is all we have to do is divide. Now, some people call this different things. I actually used to make a little fish out of it and be like, hey, it's the goldfish method, or whatever you want to call it. But it is just cross multiplication. You're multiplying the numerator and denominator of one side and then the numerator and denominator of the other side, and they are going to be equal. Okay, so then we get x equals, and then we have 1, 6 goes into 40, 6 times, you have 4 left over, 16 2/3, or 16.7 approximately, if you round it. All right, so that is how you do the basic proportion. When you guys get to your quizzes, you're going to see problems that look something like this, where we have x plus 2 over 8 equals 3 over 4. How about 4? We'll do 3/4. All right, so now we're going to do our cross multiplication. 3 times 8 is 24. 4 times x plus 2. Remember, we're multiplying the numerator times the denominator, so you got to make sure everything is quadrupled. And from here, there's a couple of different things you can do. You can take that first step and distribute, and then undo. Or if you want to, you can actually divide by 4 to begin with. And you'll have 6 equals x plus 2. And then you just subtract 2 from both sides. So that is an option. Not the only option, but probably the most simplest and most efficient. And again, to check it, you would just plug it back in. 4 plus 2 is 6, and 6 over 8 does equal 3 over 4, because you just have to divide both numerator and denominator by 2, and it will reduce. So yay, we got the right answer. All right. Let's go ahead and take a look at our next type of question that you are going to see on that quiz. It says, what is the ratio of A to B? Oops. What is the ratio of A to B? All right, so in this situation, they're still going to give you like 5/8 and then equals A plus B, A minus B. Okay, so we're going to cross multiply. We're going to get 8 times A plus B equals 5 times A minus B. Go ahead and distribute. And Ms. Moss did make this up, so it's probably not going to be a very pretty answer. 8A plus 8B equals 5A minus 5B. We do want to get the A's together and the B's together. So let's subtract 5A. Oh. We're going to get 3A. It's so crooked, and every time it's crooked. Not sure why. Negative 5B. Subtract 8B, and we get the B's together. And Miss Moss is quickly running out of room. Negative 13 over B. So we're going to take this concept and we're just going to move it right up here. So we have 3A equals negative 13B. And if we want the ratio of A to B, we want to get A divided by B. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide both sides by B first. It's going to cancel, and we're going to get 3A over B is equal to negative 13. And then we're going to actually divide by 3 on both. Oops, I forgot my 1 for that 13. We're going to divide by 3. That's going to cancel. And we have the ratio of A to B is equal to negative 13 over 3. Okay, so it's just a lot of solving. A lot of inverse operations, cross, multiply, distribute, get the A's together, get the B's together, divide, divide, you're done. Okay, all right, the last question is a word problem on that first quiz. And it's talking about, this one says Samir paid between 50 and shipping charges on a package that weighed 20 pounds. How much would she get charged if it was a 50-pound package? So we're going to take that same scenario. We're going to set it up, but using a different situation. Same concept though. All right, so let's make it a little bit simple. Let's say 16 donuts cost $12.50. How much would could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could woodchuck? See, I can't even do it. How much would 50 donuts cost? So we're going to use the proportion to set this up. You could technically use a unit analysis, figure out how much each donut is, and then multiply it. But for the sake of understanding the proportion, we'll just go ahead and set it up as a proportion. So 16 donuts cost $12.50. Actually, I'm going to flip that around in case you ever do the unit analysis. You would take the price per donut, so the price would actually be on top. So $12.50 divided by 16, that will give you how much each donut would be. But we want to know the cost of 50 donuts. Okay, so once it's set up, all you have to do is cross multiply. So 16x equals $12.50 times 50. Not even gonna lie, I'm going over to my calculator and plugging that in because Miss Moss is tired. And you get 625. And then you would just divide both sides by 16. And x would equal, oops. About $39.06. So it'd be almost $40 to get 50 donuts. Okay, so that should at least get you started on that first quiz. I'm going to pause it here for just a second. You guys can pause me and I will be right back. All right, so let's go over just a couple of more things to kind of make sure you guys are good. The last couple of questions on the 2.08 quiz talk about the ratio of players, like the number of players. So like, let's say we had a school situation where we said in a classroom of 30, in the classroom of 30, we had 11 people that had classes. If we were going to use that classroom as an example of the whole school, and the whole school had 382 people in it, what could we estimate the number of people who had glasses to have? So you would just set up the proportion and then you would just solve it like normal. We would cross multiply 30 times x is equal to 11 times 382, which is 4202. And then you would just have to divide. So just because it's a word problem, don't let that mess with you too much. Oops. This mouse has a hard time writing and talking at the same time. 30. So we can approximate that about 140 students would wear glasses at that school if we were using that classroom as an example. Not that it's reality, but it's a thing. All right, the other type of problem was the perimeter problem. So let's say we have two triangles and they have a ratio of 3 to 5. And we know the area, or I'm sorry, the perimeter, not area because that's a whole different beast. We know the perimeter of the larger triangle is 60. How can we figure out the perimeter of the smaller triangle? All you would have to do is just set it up like that, and then you would cross multiply. So 5x equals 180, and then divide by 5. All right, so x would equal 36. So this perimeter would be 36, and this perimeter would be 60 if it had a 3 to 5 ratio. All right, so let's approach a little bit more challenging of a problem when we are having to set up a proportion. Let's do 4x minus 1 over 3 is equal to 7 over 1. Okay, in this situation, we are going to be multiplying 3 times 7. And then 1 times 4x minus 1. Well, 1 times anything is just itself. Okay, so now once we have it set up, just add 1. You're going to get 22 equals 4x, and then you would just divide by 4. And 22 over 4 does reduce to 11 over 2. Some of your answers on your quiz might be fractions, and that is completely okay. All right, you guys, I hope this helps. If you run into any other questions or need help, just let me know, and I'll try to find somebody to help you.